All right, let's talk about padding. Padding as a verb, as in the thing that only a keyboard player can do. Sometimes in transitions, and sometimes it's underneath welcomes, underneath prayers, at the beginning of services, at the end of services, maybe during a communion moment for a night of worship or something. Any time where nobody else is doing anything but the piano and the pad player. The same rules kind of apply to choosing great sounds and choosing patches. You need to find a good pad, literally a pad, and also a piano. But sometimes the piano doesn't work and doesn't need to be in there. There really isn't a one-size-fits-all explanation for what to use when you do that, except for it shouldn't be distracting. It shouldn't be overly complex with a lot of movement. And you as a player also shouldn't be distracting with a lot of movement. Movement is fine, as long as the movement doesn't take away from what is being presented. Often padding is happening behind or underneath something else, like a pastor presenting something or a worship pastor prompting, and so on and so forth. So understanding maybe how to do that is important. And so pick a key. Knowing where you're coming from and knowing where you're going, again, is important. But let's pick the key of E for this. You might play the E. It's important to not move through as many chords as you can think of quickly. You don't want to go. It just becomes distracting easily, very quickly, and everybody thinks and arpeggiates with their chords a little bit differently. It's really not something that you have to do a lot of movement and work in, but it is something you need to be aware of as far as what's being done. Let's say the pastor is praying, and you're in the key of E. Let's say he's praying. If you have enough of him in your ears, you can move a little bit in between his phrases. You can add color tones like twos and susses. Resolve it. One thing that I personally try to avoid is going to a 1 in the middle of a pad, because it kind of sounds like it's over. It kind of sounds like that moment is finished when you do that. And so you can move around the 1. You can use it as a passing note. You can go. So we can do that forever, and we can get a little boring, just kind of watch somebody's hands pad. But the idea behind padding is to emotionally support the moment and to not be distracting and not draw attention to. Keeping it simple will always work. But you can under pad, like if you sat here for 3 minutes and all you did was add a sus, it could get really, really annoying, and like something is coming that needs to be established and you're not doing anything. So that's why moving a little bit is helpful. Just kind of know when he's speaking and when he stops. Doesn't have to be in time. You don't have to play a song. One thing in padding also that you can think about is if you foreshadow sonically something that's coming. So let's say you're in the key of E and you're gonna be doing Reckless Love soon. You might do something like this. playing the obvious hook and the obvious melody, but you're kind of insinuating something's coming. That makes sense. That's something sometimes that's a really nice add to your padding where you play something. You may be in the key of D and gonna be doing Living Hope. You could do doesn't have to be in time, doesn't have to follow anything. If you turn into a robot and you play a hook and a song in time, that's also distracting. So padding is also very subjective, and so you may have some different opinions and things that you feel like work. Just run those by the leader that you're serving with, and you can ask any of us any questions about that. Yeah, just learning how to pad behind anything and in front of anything, and knowing where you're going. Foreshadowing, don't move too much, but don't not move. There's all sorts of little rules that we could make up, but so much of it is being attentive and aware and spiritually intuitive to what's going on in the moment, and you are there to serve and support the moment. And we've said this before, sometimes padding happens during the most spiritually sensitive moments in any of our services, like salvation calls and prayers. And so that's a heavy burden to carry, but it's totally something that the piano and the pad were built for. And so dig into how you do that. Watch some tutorials online. Try to find and listen to Bethel or Hillsong or Elevation or somebody that does that really well, and you'll learn a lot from that. And so if you have any questions, let us know. We'd love to help.